Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another video on Marvel Strike Force. Yes, my stuff is cut off here at the top of the screen. That's because we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Boilon tier list for July 2023. Yes, happy July, everyone, as well. Happy upcoming 4th of July for Americans. Happy Canada Day, which already passed for us Canadians. And that's what we're going to be doing here today. Now, I haven't done a video for about 2 months or so. I skipped patch 7.1 for some reason, but I did do a tier list back in 7.0, and it was a huge success. So we're going to be doing it again, and this is going to be including some of the best characters that you need to be considering right now for your roster. A lot of this is going to be characters within the last year or so, unless there's been reworks or some real extreme reason that they're super amazing. You'll find out some of these, then they're probably not worth considering at this time. You know, a lot of what you need to be focusing on is things in front of you, so hopefully I can help guide you into those characters and who are some of the best to be building right now. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. And just as a reminder, it was this video here, the Build Now Absolute Best Characters in Marvel Strike Force. This was back, I think it was maybe at the end of May. It was about, I would say it's about 2 months ago now. And this did really well, and I hope that this next one will help you guys out. Now there's been 2 patches in between, so there's been some movement on the tier list, both up and down, and perhaps off the list as well. So because I don't have a designer infographic guy anymore, I'm resorting to Tier Maker, unfortunately, where I can do it myself. We're going to start at the bottom, though, and work our way up. And we're not going to talk about the character skits. You know, you can do that on your own time. I'm going to talk about the reason why they are where they are, and perhaps why they're not somewhere else. So let's just get off, let's start off right off the bat here with patch 7.2 here and the reworks that happen for the most part, and that is Infestation that you can see at the bottom. So you can see Ant-Man, Black Widow, Swarm, and Yellow Jacket. Now, you guys know me and Swarm, right? Do I have to bring up my game? I mean, I have a huge Swarm, but if you are considering building Infestation, Swarm is the best character on the team. And the reason why that is because his kit got reworked the most, and he can actually do a lot of what he can do outside of Alliance War defense, particularly with his ultimate. I said I wasn't going to go into the kit, but I had to explain myself again for Swarm, is that he can actually do the follow-up on the special without being in war defense. A lot of the characters like Ant-Man and particularly Yellow Jacket has to be in war defense to do this. He also does heal himself as well, 20% of his max health on turn. It used to be, I believe, that you needed charges for it, and you couldn't do it without it. So I think that this, from using him, actually, this 20% healing is enough to counter some of the damage that he takes without charges. That being said, he does gain the charges back after every match anyways. So there we go. That's the Swarm. Other characters that I'm considering within the context of this, though, is actually Black Widow. So Black Widow is a possible candidate for Dark Dimension 6 Global. She is a cheap character to build. She's also a skill character. She has some very good utility. She does synergize well with Captain America OG. And so there might be some good value here in Black Widow. The other two I probably wouldn't really build that high. Even if you are building Infestation, they'd probably be the last ones to build. Dropping off at your own risk. There was actually more characters in this category. And so I'll let you know soon, why they're no longer there. Unlimited X-Men. They're still in this category. So I had a couple of other Horseman teams that are in this category. I took a lot of them out. And the reason for this is what we heard about the Cosmic Crucible changes. Now, you would think that that would take Unlimited X-Men out, but we don't know what's going to change with the rooms. We don't know what's going to change with the global buffs as well. And so I think, though, as far as Crucible teams go, Unlimited X-Men, they've been falling off a little bit. They're pretty easy to beat, in my opinion, either with a mirror match or other characters. And I feel the other Cosmic Crucible teams, even that don't include a legendary character, are almost more valuable than Unlimited X-Men. And they aren't very good in other game modes. They're not very good in war, and so you don't really get as much value out of them as you do the other Horseman teams. So they're still in this team, this list, this category. I would be cautious about it. Obviously, Rogue is still a great standalone character, though, so just, I don't think it's worth doing Gear 17 personally. That's going to be a separate video because, it's all talking about Apocalypse and things like that. people who are, you know, regulars in my Discord know my opinion about Big Boy Apocalypse, so I'm not going to really get into it here, but that'll be a separate video. Dr. Doom, he's definitely falling off. Like, people will still use him because people have him built, but is he worth doing so now? If you don't have him unlocked or if you haven't built him yet, I would say no. Personally, I would be very cautious about doing so, just because there's a lot of other better characters that are worth your gold, because gold is still a bit of a crunch, and your resources at this time. Kestrel, so she is a bit of a requirement for Apocalypse. Even if you want Baby Apocalypse, you'll have to take her to at least Gear Tier 16. So there is that. But more broadly, I don't really use her anymore. I don't use her in raids anymore. I hardly use her in Crucible, and I maybe use her in War. But the amount of value that I get from Kestrel is very low these days. Bionic Avengers, they suck. Now, I know that that's the only option that you have for Incursion raid tech, but I don't do the tech lane incursion raid. We don't get that far. I don't need to. If you're someone who does, congratulations. You know, that's 80% plus. But for the most regular people, they're okay in Doom raid. But if you are in incursion raid whatsoever, or if you're thinking about it, or you're going to be soon, don't bother with Bionic Avengers. Don't push them up any higher than you need to do. And if you don't need to, then don't do it, because that will save you resources in the long term. That will probably be getting a new raid team in the not so distant future. We've now covered Mystic, so honestly, the next team up would be Tech. It might still be 2 patches out, but honestly, I would still avoid leveling these characters. All of the Wakandans are on here. I skipped War Dogs, pretty much. I did. I skipped War Dogs when they came out, and, you know, it didn't really hurt me. It didn't hurt me in Alliance War. It didn't hurt me in Cosmic Crucible. And I did take Shuri up to Gear Tier 16 in the past, but that was because of Dormammu and Dark Dimension 5. But I maybe I take them to Gear 12 for Chaos Theory, and that's about it, and I would leave them there. But across the board, I don't think there's any value in them. I don't think you need to. I think there's plenty of other better characters that you can use these resources on. And then finally, we have Spider-Man Noir. Unfortunately, he was never really the best character on the Tangled Web team. In fact, he was just kind of a bit of there's better characters to replace him with. But who knows? Maybe there might be some crazy Crucible thing that, like, makes him better. You know, hey, maybe he's going to counter Infestation in Crucible because he hates Swarm, so that therefore he's going to kick the crap out of Swarm if you see Infestation on the defense or something in Crucible. I have no idea. But yeah, Noir is just sitting there because Tangled Web is great, but unfortunately Noir is not as much. Now, as far as the meta characters go, Dormammu, no-brainer there. I don't think I really need to explain his kit. Very solid standalone character. Copy and paste wherever the hell you want to put him. Quicksilver. He's not as evidently OP or strong as a lot of people expected he would be. He is a great drag and drop character, but I think that you do need to build him up a fair bit more. But a lot of people people who at least are getting shards from him in Cosmic Crucible should have a pretty good chance of getting him to 4 or 5 star, and so that should be viable at least from a yellow star perspective. You will want to put at least a 4 red from your dark promotions if you want to use him, though. So it's really up to you. He is a mystic based character. That's unfortunate instead of mutant, because I find that I have more mutant gear pieces right now personally. But there is some good value in him as a broader character. I've heard of some people using him in Arena right now with Super Skrull. I know that's really far down the line, but hey, you know, there's some value in him as a standalone character. I like the fact that he can also summon Scarlet Witch. Apocalypse. Don't need to talk more about that. Now, this, for me, is Baby Apocalypse. Whether you go for just Baby Apocalypse, still worth building, even if that's all you're going for. I think he's still a great character. Big Apocalypse, again, this will be a separate video because there's going to be some debate and discussion about why I don't think that Big Apocalypse is worth chasing for. To use all of those resources on 23 characters, some of them which are good, some of them are less good these days. Spider-Man 2099, I still think he's meta. Honestly, I still think that you're probably using 2099 and Spider-Weaver together where you're using them. Just because that speed-up turn bar from 2099 to Weaver is just so powerful. And even if you're using them in the Tangled Web, Eternals crap, and in Cosmic Crucible, which I hope they're changing soon in the near future, you're still using 2099. So he's still a very solid character that's worth at least G15 or 16. Then we have the Masters of Evil. Now we have 4 out of 5 Masters of Evil. The other one's up above here, who's a little bit better than they are. They're a very solid Cosmic Crucible team, hands down. And again, with the changes coming to Cosmic Crucible, I think there's going to be more variety in terms of where we're going to use them. Now, as far as who I would focus on the most, I would focus on Titania, Ultron, and Kang. Not so much. I don't think you need to do it as much as on Absorbing Man, in my opinion. I think he's a kind of a mad tank, in my opinion. He's normally the first one to go down, but that's just me. Hela and Zombie Iron Man, aka the Undying duo, very, very strong. A lot of times they can just do things by themselves, and there's a lot of theory crafting, copy and drag and drop potential here with the two of them, but also other characters into the team, which is really fun. And actually, this was a very fun duo. I like playing with them, and I liked playing with other characters in that team to see what more they could do. Emma Frost, turn bar mechanics, very, very good. She has minus 10% speed to all characters. Any characters with speed manipulation or speed bar mechanics are always going to last for a long time. She's probably the oldest character on this list. She's like 3 years old at this point. Now, you don't need to build her very high, though, so I want to make that very clear about Emma Frost. She doesn't need to be built up very high to do what she needs to do. Actually, she can die, I'm pretty sure, and then the speed thing still works for the entire match. But just have her unlocked, make sure. Maybe if you want to build her a little bit, go for it. But she is a bit stat creeped, so she does die pretty quickly. Next, we have the new Warriors team. Obviously, one of the more recent Cosmic Crucible editions and reworks. Very, very strong. They're namely right now to beat the Tangled Web Eternals nonsense. But with the Crucible changes coming, there may be some more value in them using them in different places as well. So looking forward to that. Next, we have the Nowhere team. 4 out of 5 anyways. So I don't have experience with using them personally, and I don't have the resources to do this. But I'm going to put them on here anyways because I think that some people are doing this. I don't normally go out of my way to build war teams. Now I say that and I'm doing Infestation. Don't ask. This is just a fun project for me. Sometimes I do that from time to time. But Nowhere with Nova. Now, I think that Nova has a lot of good standalone value. I just don't think that the other characters on the Nowhere team do. And so for that reason, I'm not sure if I really need them at this time. Maybe if there's some value in them in Cosmic Crucible or something, I might do it later. But right now, I'm just taking a pass. Now, that leaves 2 characters who were on the dropping off at your own risk category, and a lot of that's for the same reason. So both the Gamma team and the Darkhold team. I had them previously in this category here, but with the news that there's going to be more flexibility, more theory crafting in Cosmic Crucible, like I mentioned before, I think this brings them back on the table. So one of the things that pissed me off was the global buff nerfs. That basically it nerfed both Gamma and Darkhold. Darkhold first, and then Gamma later, in terms of the stats. And I hope that they get rid of that, and then there's more value of where we can use these teams in broader rooms, and because they are actually very flexible teams that are actually quite strong. Arena teams are notoriously very good, so Darkhold is quite flexible that you can use them in basically every game mode where you can use them. And Gamma, as far as a war team goes, they've proven that they are quite flexible as well, that they are quite strong too. I think that they're all much better than Unlimited X-Men. Unlimited X-Men obviously still works in Crucible, but they're sliding off, and they suck in other game modes, in my opinion. This is where we get to the must-build category. Now, the must-build category represents some of the best characters in the game. They also represent a lot of the major raid teams that exist in the game for Incursion Raid, because I feel that those are some of the best bang for your buck, because you're going to need to build them. Raids are daily, and you're going to want to have them up. Now, not all of them are raid characters, but a lot of them are, so we'll just go through this systematically. So we have Spider Weaver. Not going to talk about the kit, but she's still an amazing character, and I think she's still worth building, so make sure that you do that. Then we have the Rebirth team, obviously, here. I would focus on some of the better characters first, which are namely Agent Venom and OG Cap, and then probably Captain Carter third. US Agent's balls, especially outside of raids. He sucks ass. Don't level him up too much. We do have the Eternals here. The Eternals are probably, outside of Emma Frost, some of the best characters that are old characters in the game. Wouldn't surprise me if they bring out more Eternals down the line. Still very strong characters. You may not be using them in Arena right now, but you are using them probably in every single other game mode. They're dropping off a little bit because of the Bifrost team that we'll talk about in raids, but they are really, really, really good, and I would still gear them now at least to the Gear 16 level, if not a little bit higher. We do have the Horsemen standalone, so we have Morgan Le Fay, Red Hulk, and Rogue, and so I would still build these characters, even if you're not building Unlimited X-Men necessarily. I still think there's standalone value in getting them unlocked and building them up yourselves. Kang. Now, the reason why he's separated from the others is because of his speed bar mechanic. he just hits so hard as well. He is an insane character. So he's up here because he's the one that you're going to push above the rest of the Masters of Evil. I'm probably going to be taking him to gear tier 18 as well. So he's definitely deserved the spot up here. Then we have the Invaders team for the skill raid group for Incursion Raid and Doom Raid and whatever. So we have these 5 characters here. We have Nick Fury, who is amazing. Honestly, the best character of the team. Best rework they ever had, I think, at this point, outside of Gamora in the past. Nick Fury had an insane rework. His minions hit really hard, really, really great. So if you're going to boost one character on the team the most, it's going to be Nick Fury. Now, secondly, we have Death's Seed. So that's going to be Magneto, Archangel, Psylocke, Nemesis, and Dark Beast. Dark Beast is actually going to become farmable soon in the Nexus hard mode campaign, and that's the Mutant Raid team. Also a Horseman team. And they're very solid still. Even though they're a raid team, they're actually still pretty impressive, and that's probably because they have a legendary character, but you're still using them probably in Cosmic Crucible and Alliance War. So you're getting a lot of good value out of this team here. I'm not sure if I'd really spend too much in terms of like Dark Dimension 6 talk, like in terms of gear tier 18. You might have to do Magneto perhaps, unless you end up doing something else like Shuri, but otherwise Magneto might be on that list there. Then we're going to talk about Nova, because I think he does still have some good standalone value. Even if you don't build the rest of his Nowhere team, I think it's very, very solid here. I have built Nova to gear 17 and level 95. Like, he's pretty high up there right now for me, and I am getting some good hybrid viability out of him, so not too bad there if you don't want to build up the rest of the team yet. So still good. There is going to be an upcoming legendary trial event that's going to require the Nowhere team, but we don't know like who else is going to be there with them, and also that there's a good possibility that Nova, with some of these characters at low tier, could still do a lot of damage and still probably get that legendary character unlocked at a lower difficulty. So do keep that in mind. I don't think it's necessary to actually have to gear all of them up, in my opinion. And last but not least, we do have the Bifrost team, the latest Mystic Raid team. So they're added here onto the list with a rework from that. So this is going to get challenging because I have a dog with the name of these characters, and so I am going to intentionally avoid saying their name, but the Tricksters, the Asgardian Tricksters, with Beta Ray Bill and Sylvie. And so that's the Bifrost raid team. And currently we only have Vol, this guy. I'm intentionally doing this, and this one should be out this coming week as an offer, though 45 shards as well. So it's going to be a bit of a slow release. We don't know how we're getting Sylvie. Beta Ray Bill is going to be in an event later on in the month of July. I don't know if Sylvie's going to be the August month long, or it's going to be like the first event in August. Either way, it's going to take a while for this whole team to come out, but it's your next major team that you're going to want to use for Incursion Raid, because it's going to really solve that problem in the Mystic lane. Finally, we have Spidey Big Time. Now, Spidey Big Time is going to be a big time character. Kid you not, for two reasons, obviously. The Infestation team. We are getting free Spidey Big Time shards as far as the raid season go. Yes, going to go really amazingly with Swarm. So right now, depending on how well you rank in your raid season, you are going to be getting shards every 2 weeks for Spidey Big Time. And I plan on using Spidey in Dark Dimension 6 City alongside Swarm. So there's some really great value with them, both in, and his kit is really good. I think there's a lot of viability in this character. I honestly think they're going to be like Heroes for Hire in War Defense, where you can just have a big Spidey Big Time, and you can have the other characters maybe like gear tier 14, and they're just going to go to town on everyone, because I think that he's going to be like the Shang-Chi equivalent. He's going to put trauma on everyone. Amazing kit, even outside of Alliance War. He still has a pretty broad kit, and his stats are very high. So definitely a top pick for Dark Dimension 6 City. And of course, you might have some more who knows? Maybe we'll see them in Cosmic Crucible. Maybe there's going to be a place where we can stick this whole team on Cosmic Crucible defense. That'd be great for me as someone who is building Swarm and who plans on building Spidey Big Time. That'd be a lot of fun, and we'll see where things go for there. So that's the end of this tier list. Let me know if you think that I really should have had a certain character on here, or a set of characters, in my opinion. But these represent the best characters that you should be focusing on right now. There's still a lot of characters on this list, but I think I've done my best to kind of chop it down to what's worth gearing, what's worth considering, which really is these groupings here and some of these characters down here, but I would be cautious about this because I don't think they're must-haves in my opinion anymore, and I always do like to list the reworks that happen each patch. So that's the end of this video, everyone. Now this is going to be available on my Discord later on, so if you do want to kind of share this with your alliance mates or keep it for yourself, then you can find it there in my Boilon's Resources channel. Until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.